ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुश्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सगुणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वशभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय पंचाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। अब्रह्मं भङ्गरहितम् अजडं विमलं सदा आनन्दतीर्थमतुलं भजे तापत्रयापहं चित्रे पदैश्च गम्भीरे वाक्यैर्मानैरखण्डितैः गुरुभावं व्यञ्जयन्ति भाति श्रीजयतीर्थमाम् अर्थकल्पितकल्पोऽयं प्रत्यर्थगजकेसरी व्यासतीर्थगुरुर्भूयात् अस्मत् इष्टार्थसिद्धे जयति श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ समदन गोपालः वक्ष्यामि यस्य कृपया प्रमेय रत्नावलीं सूक्ष्मम् भक्त्याभ्यासेनापि तोषं ददाने धर्माध्यक्षे विश्वनिस्तारिणाम्नि नित्यानंद द्वैत चैतन्य रूपे तत्त्वे तस्मिन् नित्य आस्तां रतिर्नः आनंद तीर्थ नाम सुखमय धाम यति जियात् संसारार्णवतारणिं यम् इह जनाः कीर्तयन्ति बुधाः भवति विचिन्त्य विदुषां निरवकरा कुरु परम्परा नित्यम् एकान्तत्वं सीदयति ययोदयति येन हरितोषः हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण. So we will continue, which was the last thing that we discussed. We were discussing about Jivanam Bhagavad Dasatvam, that ultimately everyone is a servant. Okay, Hare Hai Anucharaha, that is the Prameya that we were discussing. So, why was the example of milk used in this regard? Anybody can recollect? Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes.
It was used in milk there is curd, then there is butter, and similarly in whole creation, Lord is in that form. He is the essence of everything, but at the same time, he is not visible.
Yeah. Mataji, you would like to elaborate?
Yes, I was going to say the same thing, that the milk already has the potential or the qualities of the curd which are unmanifested.
And how will we manifest it? By churning. So how will you apply to this? That we are eternal servants of the Lord. So the relationship between the servant and the master is there, but that is not manifest. So to manifest that, we should put the effort of devotional service. So the churning rod is the intelligence, the milk is the shastra, and the effort is the devotional service. And through the knowledge that is gained, we will be able to develop love and devotion to the Lord. So that is the idea that is here. So
Also,
Prabhupada,
the of
yes,
servants and master, you had given that bad servants
yes,
are
correct.
good servants of the master.
So he may be, everyone is a servant, but then some servants will not obey the master. So then it is their unfortunate situation. So like that, everyone is a servant of Krishna ultimately, but then some decide to obey, some decide to not obey. That is where the devotion gets manifest or not. Prabhupada mentions in a lecture on Bhagavad Gita 6.1 in Los Angeles, 1970. Without endeavor, without voluntary acceptance of spiritual discipline, one cannot make advancement. It is not so cheap. So the point is that one must endeavor for spiritual advancement, then only it will come. It doesn't come just like that without any effort. So for devotion, there should be a serious endeavor. Many times it can happen that we get lethargic in devotional service, especially after staying a few years in the moment. We think that we are by default going back to Godhead. So that is not the case. Sometimes it so happens that we think we know all the philosophy and we stop reading Shastra. So, but that should not happen. There should be a constant endeavor to study. Prabhupada would say that we should, all initiated devotees must study our books 2 hours a day at least. So there has to be a constant endeavor to study these books and understand the philosophy. Otherwise, somewhere we become lazy, and such laziness it will hamper our advancement. Similar is the case with all the other activities of devotional service like Shravanam, then Archanam, Padasevanam. We clean the temple, we worship the deity. So all these processes are very mandatory for our constant progress. So it ultimately depends on the effort that we put. Further, in a lecture on Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.18 in Vrindavan 1972, Prabhupada says, if you do not follow the rules and regulations, then where is the progress? You must make an effort to follow. So ultimately, our effort is required. That is where this churning analogy is given. That the effort we put will eventually bring out the butter, although butter is always present in the milk in a different form. So now, we get to the next thing. What is that? Okay. Shruti texts such as the following also confirms this. Brahma Shambhus Tataiva Varkas Chandramascha Shatakruto Evam Adyas Tathaivanye Yukta Vaishnava Tejasa Jagat Karyavasane tu Viyujjante cha Tejasa iti वितेजसश्च ते सर्वे पंचत्वम उपयान्ति च विष्णु धर्मोत्तर पुराण 1.171.5 to 6. Brahma, Shiva, Surya, Chandra, Indra and other demigods are all endowed with the power of Lord Vishnu. However, at the end of their duties in the universe, they become devoid of that power. Being powerless, all of them perish. Sabrahma ka सरौद्रकश्च सेन्द्र देव महर्षिभिः अर्चयन्ति सुरश्रेष्ठं देवं नारायणं हरिम्. The Mahabharata it is mentioned. The demigods accompanied by Brahma, Rudra, Indra and great sages worship Lord Narayana, also known as Hari, the best of the divine beings. O descendant of Bharata, Lord Vishnu is to be always served and worshipped before everyone else who has ever existed, who exists and who will exist. So the individual soul is servant of Lord Hari only and nobody else. So this is further clarifying, because there is a problem in our understanding. We think that uh, there are various devas, there are different devas, and all of them have to be worshipped on an equal level. So that is clarified here, that the highest of the devas like Brahma, Shiva, Indra, Arka, who is Surya, and Shatakrato, who is Indra, all of them, they are endowed with the power of Vishnu. And only because they are endowed with the power of Vishnu, they are able to carry on their duties. So ultimately, the power and mercy of Vishnu is mandatory. Then only all of the devas are able to carry on their duties properly. Otherwise, they won't be able to carry on their actions. So that is the point that is to be understood here. Just a minute. So it is only by the mercy of Vishnu that they are able to carry on their duties, and only by the investment of the power of Vishnu. So there is dependency of on Vishnu for by all these devatas. They have dependency on Vishnu. That is further confirmed in the Mahabharata, that they all worship Lord Narayana, also known as Hari, O divine, O best among the divine beings. So uh, for example, it is frequently seen that there will be problems in this universe, and whenever there are problems in this universe, that problem has to be corrected. So, what the Devatas can do, if it is within their capacity, they will do it. If it is beyond their capacity, they have to come to Kshira Sagara, the ocean of the milk, and pray. And only when they pray, come there and pray, that is when the Lord will manifest Himself, and He will give assurance that yes, yes, I will correct myself. I will correct the situation. Many a times we see that the various boons granted by the Devas are a cause of problems in society. For example, Brahma had granted a boon to Hiranyakashipu, that he had granted so many boons that he will not die inside the house, he will not die outside the house, he will not die on the land and in sky, he will not die by any weapons. So many boons he had granted. So ultimately, that situation had to be rectified by Lord Vishnu himself in the form of Nrsimha Avtara. So similarly, for Ravana also there were benedictions that he could be killed by an ordinary human being only and nobody else. So Supreme Lord had to correct that situation by coming himself as an ordinary human being and destroy. There are so many examples we'll get in Shastra. The example of Bhauma Sura, who got a benediction that he can touch anybody's head and they will be blasted. So is also called Vrukasura. And he started touching everywhere. Wanted to come to Shiva and touch his own head. But eventually Vishnu rectified the situation by somehow convincing him to touch his own head. And in this way he was destroyed. So all the devas, they don't have independent authority to give benedictions. They can give benedictions only if the desire of Vishnu is there. One thing. Second thing is that whatever they give is also temporary, it is not permanent. And it may be a cause of problem for all of us, it may be a cause of problem for this world also. Whereas that doesn't happen with Vishnu. Vishnu will decide only whatever is necessary and give the jivas accordingly. So that is one very important point we should understand. The अंतवत्तु फलं तेषां तद्भवत्यल्पमेधसां देवान् देवो यजयन्ति मद्भक्तिं यान्ति मामपि. The benedictions given by devatas, they give temporary results. They don't give permanent results. Whereas the benedictions given by Vishnu, they are for our permanent benefit. They always give permanent results. So it is very mandatory that we should serve and surrender to Vishnu only and not to anybody else. Uh, Krishna says, Alpamedasham, those who are less intelligent worship the devas because their results are temporary. And those who worship the devas, they go to the planets of devas where there is repeated birth and death. Whereas those who worship Vishnu, for them there is no repetition of birth and death. So they go to the eternal abode. That's why it is mandatory that one worships the Supreme Lord only. Prabhupada says in a lecture on Bhagavad Gita 7.20 in Los Angeles, 1969, demigods are not supreme. They are dependent on the mercy of the Lord. They cannot give you liberation. Similarly, in Srimad Bhagavatam 2.3.10, Los Angeles, 1972, Prabhupada says in a lecture, just like government officers, they have some power, but the supreme power is in the government. Similarly, the demigods have some power, but the supreme power is in Krishna. Further, Prabhupada says in a lecture on Bhagavad Gita 9.25 in London 1973, demigods are not independent, they are servants of the Lord. If you worship them, you are indirectly worshipping Krishna. But this is not the recommended process. Avidhi Purvakam. So, Bhagavad Gita says that worshipping devas directly is the Avidhi Purvaka. It is not the right process of worshipping. The worship of Vishnu should be there, and because they are all servants of Vishnu, they will get their share. So that is the understanding one has to get from this. Now, Padma Purana mentions Dasabhuto Hare Eva Na Anyaseva Kadachana. The soul is a servant of Hari alone and not of anyone else. So, this further explains the point that the individual soul, uh, it cannot serve anybody else and get the ultimate benefit. It cannot get ultimate bliss by serving anybody else. It can get ultimate bliss only by serving the Supreme Lord. So we will get happiness only when we get connected with the Supreme Lord. As long as we are not connected with the Supreme Lord, we will never get happiness. Yatha turor mule nisheshanena trupyanti tatskanda bhujopashaka. For nourishing all the leaves and the branches and the trunk of the tree, we have to water the roots. If we individually water each of these separate parts, we are not going to get the plants are not going to get nourished. Similarly, if we don't nourish the stomach, the organs of the body are not going to get nourished. If you individually try to nourish the hands or legs by supplying food to them, they are not going to get nourished. Ultimate nourishment will happen only when we feed the stomach. So that is what we should understand. So direct service to Hari, Supreme Lord Krishna, is recommended and not to anybody else. Of course, we discussed in Vedanta Samantaka, for those who have heard, that there are some Shastras also that recommend worship of Shiva and other things, and sometimes they are also considered supreme in some Puranas. Well, there is a gradation of Puranas. There are Tamasika Puranas also, there are Rajasic Puranas also, there are Satvik Puranas also. So the Tamasic Puranas give emphasis to Shakti or Durga. Rajasic Puranas give emphasis to Lord Shiva. It is mentioned that once Brahma and Vishnu wanted to check, they came across a Shivalinga and they wanted to check how great it is. Brahma sat on the Hamsa and started flying up. As he flew up to find the tip of the linga, he was not able to get it. Similarly, Vishnu in the form of Varaha Avtara, he started going down. As he went down, 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 he was not able to find the base of the linga. Eventually, they came back and they decided that this is infinite. So such statements are found in scriptures, but you should understand that they are Puranas that are meant for Tamasika people. And because they are meant for Tamasika people are naturally getting attracted towards such Puranas, and so their progress will be accordingly. So we should also understand that is why such deviations or variations are not there in the Vedas. Vedas are Apurushaya and always perfect. That is why Vedas are also to be always to be considered superior. And Narayano Paru Viktat iti is the Vedic statement. So Vedas clearly established that Narayana is the supreme. There is no confusion in the Vedas. So that is why everything has to be understood in the context of the Vedas. So Prabhupada says in a lecture on Bhagavad Gita 9.25 in London 1973. If you worship demigods, you will get temporary result. If you worship Krishna, you will get eternal result. Therefore, intelligent men worship Krishna directly. So it's a sign of intelligence that one worships Krishna directly and not be deviated by worship of any other demigods or any other devatas. So that is the point we should understand here. So this is the subject matter of Jivanam Bhagavad Dasatvam. Eventually, everyone is Hare Anucharaha. Everyone is a servant of Supreme Lord Hari. So that finishes this fifth Prameya also. Any doubts related to this, you can ask before we go to the sixth Prameya.
Prabhuji, what about like Shiva also gives mukti? Devi also gives mukti, right? So what about that? And also, uh, in the Devi stutis, Shiva stutis, they are also described as Paramatma when people consider them as Ishta, like we see Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samsita. So such shlokas and such stutis, how should we understand?
Yes. So one thing is in the Vedic language, the Reaching of Swarga is also considered a higher destination of moksha sometimes for those who are on the karma mark, the Mimamsakas and others. So, under those circumstances, they have the capacity to give this Swarga. Also, if you are engaged in devotion to Hari, then as Abhimani Devatas, they assist you in the process of liberation. So that way, as the servants of Hari and as devotees of Hari, they have some strength in them to give liberation. At the same time, we should also understand that they are also in charge of fulfilling the material necessities of living entities. So, in the process of fulfilling the material necessities of living entities, if a living entity approaches with material desires, he can get deviated from the path of liberation by worshipping the devas. So that is one important thing we should understand. So Prabhupada mentions in Krishna book that the gopis did Katyayani Vrata because they wanted Krishna as a husband. Similarly, Rukmini Devi was also worshipping their Kuladevata because she also desired to have Krishna as husband. So if such desires are there and worship is done for that, it's a different thing. But generally people worship for material desires, and that is why they don't get liberation. So that is one point. Second point, you mentioned about Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu. So definitely, the goddess Devi or goddess Durga holds a superior position in the material world. So she is the controller of all living entities. So among the living entities, she is superior. So sapekshatva, it is for this context that superiority is there. But ultimate superiority of is mentioned in the Vedas. Narayana Paru Avyaktat. Narayana himself is superior to everyone else. So that is the ultimate thing. So that is why even the Shastras have hierarchy. So we get Devi Stuti and Puranas, as I mentioned. But ultimately, the Vedas are topmost, and the Vedas give a clear definition of who the Parabrahma is or absolute truth is. So is that clear?
Yes, and also like Tattvataha, Harihara Bhed is also condemned in a lot of scriptures, right?
Hmm. So actually, that has to be understood in the right context. First thing is that even in Hara or Lord Shiva, in his heart Hari is sitting. So the concept of Harihara or the deity of Harihara means that the Hari who is in the heart of Hara. So he has not gone away from him. He is in his heart always. So that is the understanding. It is not tattva or equality in the sense that both Shiva and Hari are equal. Because actually Sarva Shabda Vachakatvat, every word denotes the Supreme Lord only. Earlier I had explained this concept that Indra, Varuna, all these words eventually they are first denoting the Supreme Lord, and secondarily they are given to the Devas. The word is given to the Devas to be used. For example, my name is Rama Prameya. Actual Rama Prameya is the Supreme Lord, Vishnu. But by mercifully that name is given to me to hold it so that people can address actually Rama Prameya Dasa, but people address them as Rama Prameya Prabhu or Mohana Prabhu or Govinda Prabhu. So that address is because they have been temporarily given that name. So similarly is with Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Agni, Vayu, Shiva. All these are actually denoting the Supreme Lord only. The Supreme Shiva or the Supreme Auspicious is Shiva. That is why in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Kapila Deva mentions Murdena Daditritena Shiva Shivo Bhut. He was a Shiva. He was inauspicious when he was born because he was born out of Brahma's anger. Because of being born out of Brahma's anger, he was a Shiva. But when the Charanamrita of the Lord fell on his head, that is when Ashiva became Shiva. He became auspicious because that Charanamrita of the Lord, the Tirtha of the Lord fell on his head. So that way, the real auspicious or the real Shiva is Vishnu himself. But Shiva is also auspicious because he is connected with Vishnu. So that is how you should understand the concept of Hari and Hara together. Otherwise, you will have to explain the Shruti Vakyas, Dvasuparna, Sayuja, Sakaya. There are two different entities. All that things we have to explain.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, one understanding is that Lord Brahma is categorically the most supreme Devata, apart from Lord Vishnu and Mahalakshmi.
Yeah.
So, in other words, he's more supreme than Lord Shiva. So, another
Yes.
understanding that we notice how Lord Shiva is not a Jiva Tattva nor a Vishnu Tattva. He's even above Jiva Tattva. Brahma comes under Jiva Tattva. And then there is a difference in the percentage. Prabhupada says 78% is the max that Lord Brahma exhibits, and Lord Shiva is higher like that. So, is there any reconciliation in this regard, Prabhu? Do we know what is the proper stance of Gaudiya Vaishnavism with regard to the relationship between, the position, the relative position between Lord Shiva and Brahma?
Yes, Prabhu. I will explain that. Uh, One thing is quite clear. When we refer to Vedic deities, the deities of the Vedas, the Taratamya of Madhvacharya makes perfect sense. That Brahma is the topmost living entity, and from Brahma was born Rudra or Shiva, and that is where his gradation comes after that, after him. So that is quite clear, and they all have temporary life. So a particular jiva has taken the position of Brahma, a particular jiva has taken the position of Shiva. This is about the position in the material world. Now, Brihad Bhagavatamrita explains about the different divisions in Vaikuntha itself. As Gopakumara keeps traveling different lokas, finally he crosses Brahma Jyoti and he enters Vaikuntha. So that is where first time he enters into Sadashiva Loka. And then he goes to Vaikuntha, where Narayana is there, and then the different other places like Ayodhya, Dwarka, and Vrindavana, like that. So here the Shiva who is there is actually not Shambhu or Rudra. It is the Vishnu who is named Shiva. Sarva Shabda. This is based on my limited intelligence, I was able to understand this concept. Uh, because there is no explicit statement that the Rudra is actually there. The non-Vishnu Tattva Shiva is actually there. There is no explicit statement like that. So it is Vishnu only who has the name Shiva, because ultimately all names denote Vishnu only. So we is using the concept of Sarva Shabda Vachakatvat, it is the auspicious Vishnu who is named Shiva, who is having a loka there. So even these different lokas actually, it is not like the material world where there is America and where there is England and where there is India. Each one has different place. And when somebody is here, then you cannot be there. Like that. It is not like that. It is the Visheshana Vishesha Bhava. Means for different devotees, different loka, different forms of the Lord get manifest. So whichever devotee attains liberation, that particular form gets manifest and he serves him. And when that form manifests, the Dhama also manifests accordingly. So the Dhamas are the Vishesha Rupas of Vaikuntha. It is not like the different places which are distinct from each other and not connected with each other like the material world. We cannot imagine the spiritual world like the material world. It is beyond our imagination. So, like that, when there are different lokas, it is the loka of the Shiva who is Vishnu also. So, that is superior to Brahma of the material world. Is that clear, Paul?
Yes, Prabhu, thank you.
Okay. Anything else before we move to the most exciting, most interesting part of this book, which is Jivanam Taratamyanam? Anything else? Okay. Yes. So, the sixth Prameyam is about Nichocha Bhavangata. Nichocha Bhavangata means Jivanam Taratamyam. There is a Taratamya or gradation among the living entities. So, this is completely in contradictory to our understanding that everyone is equal. First, the Mayavadi idea that Jiva Ishvara is equal, that we have refuted. We have clearly established that Ishvara is the supreme and Jivas are not supreme, they are inferior. But there is a thought that among Jivas also everyone is equal. So we see the drive for egalitarianism, drive for equality in the material world. Men and women are equal, whites and blacks are equal, everyone is equal. Let there be no caste system, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, everyone is equal. There is a continuous drive for equality in this world. And this equality has taken even an international shape. The capitalists wanted to establish one level of equality in which they wanted to give equal opportunities for all for sense enjoyment. And the communists wanted to establish for equal, capitalists wanted to give equal opportunity for all to earn money. Whatever you do, all of you are entitled to earn as much money as you want. But communists, on the other hand, had a different idea. For them, there was equal result, equal phala. Means all of you, how much ever you put effort, the money that comes will be eventually divided among all of them. That is the communist idea. But all these are partial understandings of the reality. So, how much ever the living entity wants to establish this equality in this world, equality is never going to happen. See, they eradicated the caste system or the system of Varna and Ashrama. Vedic system had Varna Ashrama, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasi. So now there is no Brahmana, there is no Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. All these concepts are eradicated systematically. And people have been brainwashed into thinking that it's all wrong. Ultimately, we have to treat everyone equal. But has it practically happened that everyone is equal? In human society, Krishna says, Chatur Varnam Maya Srishtam Gunakarma Vibhagashaha. When it is Krishna's system, it is impossible for anywhere in the world to not have this system. Even you go to the extreme west, you go to the Arab nations, you go anywhere in the world, you go to Africa or the jungles of Amazon, there will be some people who will be intelligent, who will take the role of scientists or administrators, IAS officers, and all these things, economists. There will be intelligent people. Then there will be people who will be administrators. Naturally, it will be there. Some people will naturally have a tendency to rule others, to guide others, to dictate over others. So it will naturally come. Similarly, there will be people who will be doing business, and eventually there will be people who have no skills and who will be engaged into labor. So this is a natural division of the society. How much ever you do, you will not be able to abolish this system because it's Krishna's system. It will be there in human society. Similarly, men have different roles, women have different roles. We cannot mix the roles of the two. There is a present day drive that women also should go into workforce, they should work hard, they are equal to men, and all these things are there. But then everyone has their roles in society which we are not able to mix. So what we are thinking of equality is just a utopia. It is not going to happen in this material world. Okay, so one may think that equality is not happening in this material world. Can there be equality after coming to devotion? What do you think? Everyone is a spirit soul. So once everyone comes to spiritual life, then they are all equal. Yes.
Can there is a hierarchy in rasa? Like it depends on what are we categorizing. But if
Yes.
we see Yoga, then there is a hierarchy of rasa also.
Yes, even the rasas in which we deal with the Lord, there will be a difference, and the ananda associated with that will be different. Anything else?
So in Sahaj Mukti, I think it is possible. Otherwise, it's
Huh?
not possible.
Sorry?
In Sahaj Mukti,
Sayujya Mukti,
it is
yes.
possible. There's no difference. Otherwise, I don't think it is possible
Huh.
to have any without any difference. Because in the spiritual world, there is five types of rasa, and even in rasas also, it is not like that somebody's whose dasas are same equal type of dasa. There is also difference.
Yeah.
There is always variety.
It's all full of variety in spiritual world. There are different rasas, and even within the rasa, each person is serving in a different way. And among them also there is hierarchy. There are 108 principal gopis. Among them, there are 8 principal gopis, and among them, Sri Radha is the topmost. So it's all hierarchy all over. Yeah. So Vishnuduta Prabhu gave a quote. O King Yudhishthira, the super soul in everybody gives intelligence to the individual soul according to the capacity of understanding. Therefore, the super soul is the chief within the body. The super soul is manifested to the individual soul according to the individual's comparative development of knowledge, austerity, penance, and so on. Excellent, Prabhu. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.14.38. So, yes, based on the capacity of the individual soul, although super soul is giving mercy to everyone, based on the capacity of the individual soul, the advancement is there. Yes, so we are all right in terms of spiritual world, but even in material world also, even among devotees in the material world also, there will be gradations, there will be roles. Everyone has a different role. Some, for example, in our own society, we see somebody may be in a position of a temple president, somebody may be in a position of a GBC, somebody may be in a position of local leader, somebody may not have any leadership. He will be a devotee who is not in any position, but he is chanting, he does great service. So that is the point, that service is common. Serving the Lord is common, but then there can be different positions, there can be different gradations, there can be different levels of purity. This is the most important point which we get from chapters 13, 14, and 15. 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita concludes that devotional service can be done by everyone. Yes, and one who is completely absorbed in devotional service, I deliver them from this cycle of repeated birth and death, the Lord assures. Now, it can happen that although devotional service is so superior, I am not on that level. Why? Because I am under the influence of three modes, Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. And because of influence of three modes, we are at different levels in this world. We are conditioned at different stages. So, Krishna, he has told in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita itself that devotional service is the topmost, and anyone who engages in devotional service, I deliver him. Now, after telling this, what is the point in again telling the material side of it? The three modes of material nature, our conditioning, need of studying Vedas, and divine and demoniac natures. What is the need of telling all these things? Swadharma, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya. What is the need of so many material subjects after the topmost spiritual subject is over? Because Krishna is making a case that, okay, devotional service is the topmost. If you are engaged in devotional service, it's over. One who is always thinking of me, I deliver them from this repeated birth and death. But the problem is we are not always thinking about him. We are conditioned differently, and because we are conditioned differently, we have to receive different treatments. So even the conditioned souls have different levels. This is a very important point we should understand. And otherwise, many people get slipped here. This is a slippery slope. So we think that devotion means everyone is in devotion, and because everyone is in devotion, eventually everyone will go back to Godhead. And so there is not much differentiation to be made among devotees. No, every devotee has a different responsibility, and they have a responsibility even in Varna and Ashram. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Krishna says, Svesve Karmanya Virata Samsiddhir Labate Nara. Although Arjuna was a pure devotee, eternal companion of the Lord still engaged him in his own Swadharma. Why he had to engage him in his own Swadharma? Because that is the way of perfection for him. And not only that, that is a way of perfection for many others who are his followers. So that is why everyone should stick to his dharma. So even in the platform of dharma, there is variation. So variety is there in every aspect of life. Either in our karma there is variety, in our conditioning there is variety, in our liberation there is variety, post liberation where we go, that also there is variety. So variety is that is why Prabhupada's pranam mantra is Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatharini. The Western world is filled with Nirvisheshavada or impersonalism and Shunyavada, voidism. So he's come to deliver this impersonalism and voidism. So the idea is that this Nirvisheshavada is a danger because ultimately there is Vishesha at every stage. There is differentiation at every stage, either conditioned stage or liberated stage. So that is a very important point we should understand clearly. In the Bhagavad Gita 2.20 lecture, London 1973, Prabhupada says, every living entity is a part and parcel of Krishna. Qualitatively, they are one, but quantitatively, they are different. This is the point that Baldev Vidyabhushan brings here. Just like a spoon of water from the ocean, it has the same qualities of the ocean, but it cannot destroy everything the way ocean can destroy. It cannot generate floods, that spoon of water. But qualitatively, the taste and the color and the texture, everything is the same. So similarly, the living entities are qualitatively one in the sense that they are eternal, in the sense that they are spiritual. All those things are there. But then what's special? Each of them are different, either based on their karmas in the material world or post liberation based on their ananda, based on their position of happiness. So they are all different. So this is the point we should understand. All living entities are equal in quality, but according to their karma and consciousness, they occupy different positions. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.6 lecture. Okay, so one very important point I would like to bring to your notice. For that, we should first understand what the soul is. Soul itself is given in the Shvetashvara Upanishad. Same thing is given in Bhagavad Gita and other places also. Balagra Shatabhagasya. Shatagra Shatasya cha. Shatada Kalpitasya cha. Bhago Jivasa Vidneya Sachanyatyaye Kalpate. So the soul is 1/10,000 of the tip of the hair. So this proves that the soul is uh, Anu Chaitanya, not Vibhu Chaitanya. The super soul is Vibhu Chaitanya, all pervading, whereas the atomic soul is Anu Chaitanya. It is at one place only, localized. It cannot be everywhere. So there is a difference between the super soul and the soul. So even the different souls that exist, they are infinite in number. So you cannot count the number of souls. So in this whole universe, there are infinite number of souls. In this small hall that we are staying in, there are again infinite number of souls. If you take microscope and put a point at one particular point, it will be a very small cell. Even within that, there will be infinite number of souls. So the number of souls are always infinite. It is impossible to reach a state where in infinite time, it is impossible to reach a state where the material world has become empty. There are no souls at all. It is impossible to reach the state. So there are conditioned souls, then there are liberated souls, there are souls that are going to be liberated. So all those categories, there are infinite number of souls. They can never reach a state where the material world has become empty all of a sudden. So that is the point we should understand from this Shvetashvara Upanishad. Individual soul is consciousness itself, the one who sees, the one who touches, the one who hears, one who smells, and one who tastes. It is a thinker, knower, and doer. So, wherever there is soul, there is consciousness. When the soul leaves the body, that body doesn't have consciousness anymore. Why? Because the conscious entity, the soul, has gone. So the consciousness comes from the soul. So wherever the soul is there, that consciousness exists there. So because we are all able to touch, we are all able to see, we are all able to hear, we are all able to think, it is because the soul is doing all these things. In absence of soul, none of these things could have been possible. So just like here, the example is given like a sun. sun illuminates the entire world. Now it's dark here in India, but very soon there will be morning and there will be light. The sun, as soon as he appears, he lights all the things. So similarly, when the soul is in the body, it enlightens the whole body. It makes the whole body conscious. So that is the thing. Similarly, in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, it is mentioned that the soul is indestructible. The soul cannot be destroyed at any point of time. So now we know that the soul is indestructible, the soul is eternal, and soul is pervading the entire body. Mm, and we have also observed that there is a similarity among all souls. Does it mean that all of them are same? No, no, all of them are not same. They are at different levels. According to one's karma, one's activities in this world, there is taratamya. There are jivas who are doing sinful activities. There are jivas who are doing pious activities. There are jivas who are doing activities for liberation. So that way, there are differences in this world. And post liberation, once we attain moksha, there are differences. So that we will see later. But before that, we will see how they are different in this material world. In this material world, they are different by the practice of karma. Whatever activities they are doing, sometimes some activities are favorable for devotional service, sometimes they are unfavorable for devotional service. So, or sometimes they are just neutral. So, Vedas declare Yatha Kratur Asmal Loke Purusho Bhavati Tathetah Pretyah Bhavati. According to this is mentioned in Chandogya Upanishad 3.14.1. According to one's spiritual practice in the world, so is the result after departing from here. So, whatever karma we do in this life, similarly, we will get a next life. So, completely depends on the individual, what karma he does and what activities. The idea here is that you cannot blame the Lord. Now, there is a complex situation where if everything is under the control of the Supreme Lord. So when everything is under the control of Supreme Lord, then whatever I do, good or bad, is all managed by the Lord. So then the karma should be faced by the Lord. Why I am facing the karma? So this is a question that one asks. So what will be the answer to this?
Sorry,
Yes.
Guruji, can you repeat the question?
So everything is controlled by the Supreme Lord. If everything is controlled by the Supreme Lord, my activities are also controlled by the Supreme Lord. Not a blade of grass moves without the desire of the Supreme Lord. Now, under those circumstances, because everything is controlled, my actions are also controlled by Him. So the reactions of my actions should not be suffered by me.
So, as you had said earlier, that we have a sukshma free will, and I guess by the desire of the Lord only we have gotten this free will to choose the Lord or the Maya. So, we
Hmm.
get the consequence.
Yes. Now, if this was not the case, then there was no need of Shastra, there was no need of Guru, there was no need of sadhus, there was no need of Prachara. The fact that these facilities are there means that the jiva has a decision making ability whether to choose Vishnu or to choose Maya. So, now further based on what he chooses, for example, a train is going to Delhi. You may get into the train, and once you get into the train, you have no more decision making ability. You cannot go to Chennai or you cannot go to Gujarat. You have to go to Delhi. But within the train, you can sleep, you can walk, you can lie down, you can jump, you can dance, all those things you can do. That freedom you have. Okay. So, similarly, whether to choose Vishnu or whether to choose Maya, that jiva has, and based on the preaching that is done to him through shastras and through the guru vakyas and all, the jivas decides. But then after that, it's all under the control of those entities whom you have taken shelter. If you have taken shelter of Krishna, then he will deliver us. If you have taken shelter of Maya, then she will keep us in this material world. So that is the understanding we have to get from this. Okay. All living entities are part and parcel of Supreme Personality of Godhead, but according to their karma, they are situated in different positions. Some are demigods, some are human beings, and some are lower animals. But in all circumstances, the living entity is the eternal servant of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam 4.21.12 purport. So this is the thing, Hare Anucharaha. Everyone is a Anuchara of Hari, but then they are located in different positions. That is the understanding we should have. Yes. Any doubts in this regard? Now,
Hare
there
Krishna
is
Prabhu.
one. Yes,
Prabhuji, the analogy is given like ha- taking a train. Uh, but of course, that I understand in terms of body. When we get a particular type of body, then uh, the what we say the we can say actions or the reactions related to that body will uh, come to us. Body will act in certain way. But
uh,
at the same time, if some person is there, matlab, some person is in this material world, uh, he had choice that to either to surrender to Krishna or not, because he already surrendered to Maya. That is for sure. But
uh,
now it's choice, and that choice is always there. What I think. So in that sense, this analogy of train I don't understand. So,
this
because at any point of time, uh, somebody has this choice to uh,
correct.
not to give the Madhu of the Maya and surrender to Lord Krishna.
Hmm. So what you did not understand at any point of time, the living entity has choice. Yes. So,
So in that sense, suppose but at the same time, suppose somebody has surrendered to Krishna and is still in
hmm,
this world, then
hmm.
he again can give up the bhakti and can again come to his prior position. So his destination is not yet decided until unless he doesn't come up to a sthayi bhav in both sense, matlab in bhakti, he
Okay.
can come to the lower position.
Yeah, but one thing you should understand, the whole thing depends on the mercy of the Lord. When we come to the topic of Hamala Bhaktishta Tat Sadhanam, we will be discussing that. Ultimately, whether to grant liberation or no is completely on the mercy of the Lord. So, how much the Lord is merciful, to that extent, we will be able to uh, get this. But it is not that easy also, that once we decide we are on the path of liberation and we will be liberated. So the Lord will decide when and if to liberate the Jiva or not.
Yes, that's why too. That's why the example of train, that even we go down train, how we decided, okay, now I will not take shelter of Maya. I will voluntarily take shelter of Krishna. But still, matlab, at any
Still, it
point
will
of
take
time,
time.
this
Undoubtedly, no doubt about that. There are so many influencing factors. The nine planets influence us, our previous lifetimes karma influences, the family we are born in influences us. So, although the path of devotion is there, pure, but our conditioning, there are so many things that will influence us. So, there is no guarantee that immediately perfection will be achieved.
yes, please. Thank you.
There is Madhvacharya, even among the conditioned souls, he has described three types of souls. One is those who are eligible for liberation, those who are eligible to be eternally in the samsara or the material world, and those who are going to eternally go to hell. So he has this division of living entities, he has taken it to such an extreme that even among these souls, there are some who are eternally going to hell, there are some also souls who are eternally going to be in samsara. So, what does this text say about it? Is this text also reflecting the same mood or a different mood? That is the question. So that will be the topic of our next discussion before we get into the hierarchy of the material of the spiritual world. Okay. Any question till now before we wind up? So this is going to be the most interesting discussion because there are many misunderstandings or there are many things that require more clarification in this regard. So there will be some humble attempt made to clarify that. Please let me know if any questions, else we will close for today. So okay then, so we will stop here and we will continue this discussion next week. Thank you. पंचाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्री बलदेव विद्याभूषण प्रभु की जय। शील प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्ण।